What if I told you that there are epic food stories that often go untold? Join your host, Seth, as he dives into the thrilling world of food challenges and competitive eating, interviewing those who not only take them on, but create them. Buckle up for the heart-pounding moments, behind-the-scenes experiences, and the passion fueling it all. This is Food Challenge News.
Welcome back to the Food Challenge News Podcast. I'm your host, Seth, and today I'm joined by Randy Santel. Randy, how are you doing today?
Hey, I am doing well. I am back home from a little food challenge trip that I did with Katina, and I'm back working on my new RDN channel videos. So I did not sleep very well last night. I ended up getting up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, and so I got up and it's been a productive day, but I'm sure it'll probably be an early one.
And how much do you rest after a food challenge tour usually?
Well, it's mostly about getting caught up after the trips because I don't really do a great job of getting back to emails or much else work-wise when I'm on the trips because I'm usually doing I'm usually doing the driving as well as obviously all of the trip setup as far as promoting the past challenges, promoting the upcoming challenge events, and then all the other stuff. So once we actually get home, then I start getting caught up on all of the other things that I didn't really do during the trip. And obviously, it really depends on the length of the trip. The summer tours that we do, which are like a month or two long, those take a little bit more catch up than the one we just did, which was just like 2 weeks.
How much do you have to drive usually?
Well, that always just depends. I mean, during the summer trips, we're not driving at all just because we're over in the UK or really don't drive anywhere other than in the United States and haven't really been on any American big tours as of recent. I think the last time I went on any kind of bigger American trip was early 2025, so it's been a while.
So you've now claimed victory over 1,300 food challenges across the globe, which is hard to even fathom. But I want to go back to the very beginning. Back in 2010, you took on your very first food challenge in St. Louis, Missouri with your friend Dan, also known as Zeus. And this was after winning the Men's Health Spartacus Transformation Challenge and also starting out with the name Atlas. So what do you remember about that day?
Oh, I still remember it pretty well. I mean, most any of the details that you ask, I can pretty much remember it just because I've had to tell the story so many times because that was basically when the YouTube career got started. Thanks to my cousin who came with us to video record it with his own video camcorder. He edited the video for me, which is on the channel now. Obviously, Atlas and Zeus versus the Pointersaurus or whatever it's called. But yes, yeah, we were trying to get the pizza for free. I don't think they had t-shirts back then. We were mostly just concerned about the $500 prize. My buddy had tried the challenge with a friend previously, and they failed. But he knew that I could eat more, so he was hoping that it would be kind of a way to celebrate the end of the long diet that we had just done because he did the diet with me. He didn't really compete in the Men's Health Transformation Contest, but he helped me along the way and was good motivation, and he did a kind of a transformation himself. He just wasn't as big, so he wasn't able to really transform as much in order to actually win anything. So he just kind of did it along with me, and then, yeah, we had the pizza to celebrate, and thankfully we got the win. That was win number one of many. So, yeah, I'm approaching win 1,400 soon, so I'll probably get that, obviously, at some point this year, which will be fun.
And I also wanted to ask you about the Spartacus Transformation Challenge. I believe you won out of thousands of contestants, right?
Yes, yeah, there wasn't really any kind of set number on how many people actually submitted things, and really there wasn't anything good about the contest at all. The funny thing is I didn't even know who won. They never announced anybody that won it. There was nothing for like months, which was crazy, and I had spent 2 months basically just miserable, completely consistent, working out most of the time, multiple times per day, before work, on my lunch break, after work, eating lightly. So by the end of the 2 months, I was overtrained and just miserable. And when they were supposed to announce the winner, there was nothing. So nobody knew the winner. Nobody knew anything. So I ended up obviously getting into food challenges, and I found out like a couple months later that I won the contest. I just got a random email, and I read into it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I won. But by then, I had already gained like 20 pounds from just not working out as hard as I was, or anything like that. So before, let's see, that was in March. The contest trip that I won to Auckland, New Zealand was in September. So yeah, I basically had to retransform in order to get close to a six pack of like I had in the photos before I left for the New Zealand trip to be on the set of Spartacus, Gods of the Arena.
So how was it visiting the set? Was that like the first television style set you've ever been on?
You know, the funny thing is that I had never actually even watched Spartacus Blood and Sand before going over there, which is probably pathetic, if anything. But I actually, most of the people that I met that were stars of the show, I didn't even really know who some of them were or what character they played. And no, I had never been on like a TV set or anything like that before. So it was all a new experience for me. And it was actually the very first time for me to be out of the country. So my buddy Zach from high school and grade school went on the trip with me. It was a trip for two. And so he went with me. I think he had been out of the country before, but it was my first time. So everything was new to me. I hadn't even really traveled to too many places around the United States other than on family trips with mom and dad and my sister growing up. So it was just overall a really cool experience. And then just, of course, winning the contest. The whole week was basically set up for me. We had a driver while we were over there just because New Zealand drives on the other side of the road as well. And we were in like a four-star hotel on the water, which was really neat. And then, yeah, I think like 4 or 5 of the days of the 7 or 8 that we were there, we were on set watching the filming of Spartacus: Gods of the Arena, and it was really neat. We got to meet everybody, including anybody that has watched Spartacus, the original Spartacus. Well, I guess not the original, but the original for season one, Blood and Sand, Andy Whitfield. He, of course, passed away a couple of years ago. From Hodgkin's lymphoma, I think it was. But yeah, we got to actually eat lunch with him while on the set one of the days while he was recovering, getting ready to start filming again, thinking that it was all in remission. So yeah, overall, it was a really cool experience. And then I was so happy I got to meet Lucy Lawless. I, of course, knew who she was.
Wow, it sounds like just an unforgettable experience.
Yes, yeah, and it really opened up my eyes as far as with traveling. It kind of made me want to go other places because I had so much fun there, and I realized that I really hadn't even been to too many places in the United States. So it really kind of helped get me going with wanting to travel more, which kind of fit into everything I was doing with food challenges as well, since there weren't that many food challenges to do in St. Louis where I was living at the time. Or no, actually, no, I lived in Kansas City at the time. But either way, in Missouri, there wasn't that many food challenges, and anybody that does food challenges knows once you get finished with all the challenges around you, you've got to basically travel for any more. So yeah, it all kind of worked out.
So going back to that first pizza challenge, were you nervous going into it?
Oh yes, yes. I have a long history of eating a lot, but it was my first food challenge. I've done like little food challenges that just friends have made, like giving me a bunch of food, say, hey, finish this. But actually, when I was in college in Springfield, Missouri, at Missouri State University, there was a restaurant called the Lamplighter Inn. That might have been the hotel. I'm not exactly sure what the restaurant was, but they had a 15-egg omelet that was called the world's biggest omelet. And my friends all kept wanting me to try that, but I was just too scared. I chickened out and never did try it. And by the time I was actually into food challenges, the restaurant unfortunately had closed once I actually wanted to try it again. But yeah, I was super scared. I didn't even know what I was doing. Back then, there was no place to go online for tips. I think the very early days, I was able to find a couple articles with quotes and stuff, and feedback from like Pat Bertoletti, Joey Chestnut, and I think Sonia Thomas and some others. The articles that I read all just had little blurbs of like things what competitive eaters do and what food challenges do and stuff to train for these things. So now I didn't really know what I was doing, and I'm sure that I didn't have the best strategy going into it. But thankfully, Dan was able to eat enough to go along with what I was able to eat, and we were able to finish. The thing with the Pointosaurus is that you can take 10 minutes, you can take 59 minutes, but you still have to sit there the whole hour. So it really doesn't help to finish super fast. But we kind of just coasted along. We finished a lot of it in like 20 minutes, if I remember right. But we finally finished it all up at, I think it was around the 53-minute mark. And then we just sat there for the 10 minutes until we were able to claim that $500 check.
So do you think that rule's in place just in case somebody gets sick?
Yes, yeah, probably. Yeah, you're not allowed to get sick during that hour, which is good.
And eventually you would launch foodchallenges.com, which was the world's first website offering food challenge strategies, tips, and much more. And I believe that you even wrote over 100 articles exclusively for the website by yourself. So what was the original goal for the website? And did you expect it to grow in the way it has?
Well, back in 2012, it was. I started randysantel.com just because so many people were asking me for tips and strategies and stuff as far as how to prepare for the food challenges, since I had already done quite a few by then. So I started randysantel.com, just a personal website, and I think I had like 6 or 7 articles on there to help people train. And also there was like 2, maybe just 1 for restaurants on like how to start a food challenge and things like that, or how to run an eating contest. And basically foodchallenges.com just became a evolution of that. My family friend's son, my mom and dad's friends, their son, had a company in Columbia, Missouri, and he was pretty techy and into the internet and stuff. He was able to get foodchallenges.com. The domain name was unused. He was able to buy it from somebody, whoever had it before him, for $1,000. And then I think he let me buy it from him for like $1,200 or maybe $1,250. But then yeah, of course I had to have some developers work on it. But basically that was the website that I wished was available when I started. So I tried to create that, and thankfully a lot of people have used it over the years. It's always been neat. Even Jeff Esper and really anybody that's started eating and gotten into competitive eating since, I mean, what do you want to call it? 2015, which is over 10 years now. A lot of those people got started reading some of the articles on foodchallenges.com, which is pretty neat. Obviously, the site itself isn't going to help you win Nathan's, but of course, the main goal was just to get everybody started.
So at what point did food challenges shift from a hobby into a full-time career? I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
Oh, no, you're great. Yeah. In 2008, I graduated from Missouri State University with a construction management degree, and then I moved to Kansas City from Springfield to work for a general contractor as a construction estimator. And a year later, I got laid off, and then thankfully, a family friend, or I guess my cousin, was related to, in their family, they had a construction company in Olathe, Kansas, pouring concrete. So I was able to become the flat work estimator for that concrete company, and I did that for about 3 years. But meanwhile, in 2010, I won the Spartacus Transformation Contest and then got into food challenges. And then I just loved food challenges from the start, because 1 month later, after doing the Pointosaurus Challenge, I attempted at a place called Pizza House in Jefferson City, Missouri. There was a challenge called the Haws. It was an 18-inch by 18-inch square pizza, very thick. Over 120 people had failed that. I was the very first person to finish that. I think that was around 53 minutes as well. So I got a check for $450. And then it became an obsession, and I got way more into food challenges, especially after I got back home from the Spartacus trip to Auckland, New Zealand. And so I was always just wanting to make that into a career, not really sure how, but I knew if I kept on going with the YouTube channel and everything else that eventually I would find a way. And one of the ways to make that happen I always just focused on minimizing my expenses. I lived in very inexpensive apartments and stuff. And then in 2013, once I actually retired from construction, I moved home to mom and dad's in St. Peters, Missouri, in the St. Louis area, where I was going to have no expenses, which would allow me to work on foodchallenges.com and just live off of the money that I made in 2013. Because in 2013, I did not have a job. I had gotten fired from a job that I had in construction because I wasn't focused on the job at all. I was so focused on the food challenges and traveling and my YouTube channel and everything else. So 60,000 homes in Omaha, Nebraska got hit with hail. And I had a friend who got me set up with basically a storm chasing company to sell roofs. So I moved up from Kansas City for about 7 months to Omaha, Nebraska to sell roofs for a national company and then project manage the ones that I did sell. I think I sold about 40 roofs and I made about $73,000 or something during the 7 months, which was less than I was hoping at the start of the storm season. But obviously, that was the most I've made. I think my best annual salary in construction, just as an estimator, was like 52,000 or something like that. So I made more as a salesperson with no sales experience. So that was a really cool thing in 2013 that I did. But I was basically making all the money I could, working so much in order to raise all the money that I would use to fund the development of foodchallenges.com. And then Magic Mitch Dombrowski and I, who Magic Mitch was my initial video editor. Well, I was the first editor, but then he took over everything in 2013. And so the money was also going to fund our very first European tour together, which it all worked out. And then what money I had left over after all that, I of course used while living at mom and dad's from 2013. Well, really the end of 2013. And the funny thing is I was telling mom and dad that I was just going to move home for like 3 months until I got everything figured out. But 3 years later, I was still there. And then in August 2016, I moved back to Springfield, Missouri, to go back to Missouri State University in order to start the process of becoming a registered dietitian nutritionist.
So you've had quite the journey.
Yeah, it's been a long career, 16 years now since I started doing food challenges. So it's been interesting. It's been a fun ride, and I've been able to go to 44 countries in all 50 states, with many of those states and countries, I guess, too, getting there multiple times. So I got a few years to go. We'll just have to see how it all goes. It really depends on how rapidly everything develops with everything I'm doing as a registered dietitian now.
So you said you were fired from one of your construction jobs for being too unfocused, but really, you were focused on food challenges.
Correct. Yeah. You can say I was, well, I mean, I'm usually the first to say that I was never a very good employee. My mom and my family always gives me crap because one year growing up, I think I had like 7 W-2s and 1099s and stuff from all the different work that I had done, because I would work for a company for a little bit and then I would either get fired or they would stop scheduling me, and then I'd have to, of course, find another job, and I would go from job to job. And so one year I had like 7 W-2s and 1099s, which is funny to think about how many different jobs that is. But yeah, once I actually started working for myself, obviously I did a lot better. But yeah, I've been fired from many jobs over the years prior to 2013.
So moving over to the food challenge side of things, the idea of win before you begin, as you always say, it suggests that a lot of the challenges are decided before you even sit down to take them on. So what does that preparation look like in the 24 hours leading up to when you visit a restaurant to take on a challenge?
Nice. Yeah, there is an article on that, just helping people with the stomach expansion part or training stomach capacity, because a lot of people don't win before they begin, before they attempt a food challenge or whatnot, or else they look into it like a day before trying a food challenge, which of course is too late, depending on the food challenge. Uh, some people think they can just wake up and eat 6 pounds of food, which is insane. But yeah, it really just depends. I mean, obviously, my approach to everything nowadays is way different than what it was back when I started, especially just because now a lot of it is just Ooh, the trip that I just did with Katina, there's so many people that watches and Katina's videos and want to meet her that the events in Kansas City were just insane. There was like 200 or more people at our very first one that was in Smithville, Missouri, north of Kansas City. And then thankfully, that was the largest little facility to host us. We were inside a big ice cream parlor. But then the other challenges all had like 100 or more people too. So it was crazy. We bring the store with us. So there's a whole lot that goes into it now. But as far as just being focused on the food challenges, it really depends on the type of challenge and how I'm feeling that day, whether I'm on a tour or whatnot. Because I mean, I've done so many challenges now that I can pretty much look at a challenge and know how it's going to go. I mean, I always tell people if you watch a fighter fight 1,000 fights, you're going to kind of know the results ahead of time sometimes. So it really just depends. Obviously, just anybody wanting to try a food challenge, Win Before You Begin is made up of 3 words: train, strategize, dominate. Of course, train is in regards to stomach capacity. If you are trying to eat a 6-pound food challenge and your stomach can only fit 4 pounds, your strategy doesn't matter. So, and if you are trying to do a 4-pound challenge and you can fit 6, your strategy also doesn't matter because you're probably going to win because you've got a whole lot of room to fit that. So if your stomach capacity is about 5-6 pounds and you're trying a 5 to 6 pound food challenge, strategy, of course, is a big deal, which is, of course, part of the strategize. So train, you got to make sure your stomach capacity is right. When I'm traveling on my own, I never really stay at hotels that have a free breakfast or anything like that. And the ones that I might stay at will have like some cereal bars or something, nothing too crazy. So I typically don't really eat that much on the day of a food challenge, unless I'm with Katina, because Katina's a Hilton member. She gets deals on Hiltons, and most of those, like Hamptons and stuff, they include a free breakfast. So if breakfast is included at the hotel, I'll usually eat something light for breakfast, especially if we're doing like a dinner challenge, which during the week we usually do food challenges at like between 4 and 6 for starting time, just so people can who work during the day are able to get off and of course have time to come to the event. And then on weekends, just to accommodate the restaurant and also all the other people, without ruining the typical restaurant business, we try to do the food challenge events between like 2 and 5, after lunch, but before people start coming for dinner. So, yes, I will not eat too much unless I'm trying to ride my bike. If I'm on a tour in my van and I've got my bike with me, I typically try to ride like an hour to an hour and a half during the day. But yeah, I'll bring my bike with me. I'll either ride at the hotel room, I'll just wake up earlier and do it there, or I'll just go to a random park with like a pavilion in case it rains or whatnot, or sometimes next to a creek or a river. Just depending on wherever I'm at, I'll go get a ride in as well, just to get hungry and kind of get the blood flowing and move the food through me from the previous night. Or really, I'm just rambling on, but it all depends on the circumstances. Every challenge has different variables. So going back to it, win before you begin, train, strategize, dominate. And so you train your body in order to fit the challenge that you're trying to eat. You strategize. You can't approach a burger challenge the same way you'd approach an ice cream challenge. On foodchallenges.com, there's a whole bunch of articles trying to help break down the different strategies that you would use to approach each different type of food challenge. So anybody interested, check those out under the strategies tab. But then, yeah, if you are trained with a good strategy, you'll go in confident knowing that you can dominate. And so, you're probably going to do a lot better if you're confident going into a challenge, rather than wondering, wow, what the hell am I going to do? How am I going to fit this in? So, but yeah, I mean, sometimes I'll go into places confident, and obviously I'll just get screwed. Sometimes the restaurant thinks that they can just add as much food and fries and stuff to the platter as they want, and I'll still be able to finish it, which of course is not true. So sometimes if the food challenge is bigger than expected, I may have gotten to the restaurant confident, but of course I'm not so confident once I actually start eating. So typically about 5 to 10 minutes into a challenge, I'll pretty much know how it's going to go, about what time I'll finish in, whether I'll finish or not, or stuff like that. It also depends on how stuff's cooked. If a restaurant, I hate overcooked burgers. I don't know how people in Europe and even some Americans eat beef well done. Well done beef's awful, and it's disrespectful to the animal that died for it. So if the beef is overcooked, obviously it's going to take a longer time, and then I'm going to have to drink more water along with it too, or else have more sauces. So, yes, I think that handles everything.
So confidence can be a big factor in a food challenge.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, if I just did a challenge a couple days prior that was like 8 pounds, and I'm taking on a 5 pound food challenge with 30 or 45 minutes to do it, I mean, you kind of already know that you're going to win ahead of time.
So you're also known for your pre and post challenge routines, which include but are not limited to the hat turn, flexing, and leaving no doubt. So I wanted to ask, how did these routines get started and how do you apply them to each challenge?
Ooh, the hat turn. I think I've worn a hat for most of my food challenges. I know I did not for the first one, and I don't think I did for the second one either. I'm not exactly sure when the hat wearing started, but the hat turn comes from the movie Over the Top with Sylvester Stallone. It's an arm wrestling movie. I love all Sylvester Stallone movies. A lot of people in the early days thought it was from Pokemon. Ash, I guess, did it before, turned his hat before some of the Pokemon battles. But yeah, it is definitely from Over the Top. And so that started early on, just the transformation from Randy Santel to Atlas, ready to dominate all the food sitting in front of me. And then let's see, the prayer. I grew up Catholic. I kind of tell people I'm a not so practicing Catholic. I don't exactly go to church regularly or anything like that, but I typically try to pray before meals, and I always do before all my food challenges. I pray that I do a good job of filming the video and taking on the challenge, positively promoting the restaurant. I pray that I don't choke, and then a couple other things. So yeah, the prayer I think has always been there, but eventually it became the ritual of doing the prayer. Well, really the deep breath to settle down, the prayer, and then the hat turn. And then it's time to dominate. So now, of course, I focus a lot more on the entertainment side, the video side, the promotion side, and everything, other than like the first few hundred videos where it was mostly just me trying to dominate the challenge.
And then also, what about leaving no doubt? Because I've seen that you've inspired others to also leave no doubt. And in some of your food challenge videos, I mean, there will just be crumbs left and you will basically vacuum cleaner them right up.
Yeah, I try to leave no doubt, like you said. I try to finish every single crumb. It's always funny if I accidentally leave like a little grain of rice or something, and some people will comment it on in a video. Ooh, you left some doubt. There was a grain of rice in front of your plate or whatnot, or something that I missed. And yeah, it is funny when anybody, especially like Adam Beard Meats Food, or anybody where they're doing a video and there's a couple crumbs left, and they're like, "Oh, Randy would want me to finish this." I gotta leave no doubt. So I always laugh at stuff like that. But it's so disappointing when people try to claim that they won something, but there's like a whole handful of scraps just all around their plate, where it's like, did you really finish? I mean, you could frickin' feed a small child with all of the scraps that's sitting there in front of you, and you're saying that you won. So I try to always make sure I leave no doubt. Obviously, I have not left no doubt every single time. Like, I mean, there's some freaking huge challenges that I've done, which was coming up to the end of the time limit. And obviously, the goal at the end of the day, of each day is to win. And so if the restaurant rules are just that you've got to have the food in your mouth and that chipmunking is allowed, I mean, I just did it for a big challenge in England where I won a bunch of cash money and just had to have the food in my mouth at the end of the 10 minutes. And so obviously, I that's not leaving no doubt. But if the restaurant accepts it, obviously got to take it every now and then. But generally, yeah, got to leave no doubt.
So you've had many positive food challenge experiences over the years, but you've also had some not so savory ones. And 6 years ago, you uploaded a video titled, and I quote, 4 times I've been cheated by food challenge restaurants, end quote. So for those who haven't seen it, what led you to make that video, and did any of the restaurants that you talked about in the video ever reach out to you afterwards?
No, never any of those four restaurants. And really, there was more than just those four, but those four restaurants were ones that I had no intentions of ever going back to. The one in Greece, the one in Canada was thankfully already closed. And then, let's see, yeah, Perth, Western Australia was one. And then, of course, the main one that I spent most of the video talking about and building up to was the one down in San Antonio, and they closed as well. So, no, I never actually heard anything from any of those four places, but I mean, I wasn't wrong. So, and they knew what they did. I mean, it's not like they needed to say sorry or anything.
And I believe that video got over 11 million views.
My number one video on YouTube, and it's got loads of video views on Facebook as well. So yeah, that's the funny thing is that I have a food challenge channel, but that video where I don't eat a single thing is the number one viewed video, which is funny.
And I believe even one of the restaurants called the police on you, right?
Yep, yeah, that thumbnail that my video editor Arthur drafted up was awesome. So having the cops there, yeah. A lot of people have already watched that video, and a lot of people have already forgotten that I even posted it. But yes, the main story was all building up to Lulu's down in San Antonio, Texas. I was all excited to try their chicken fried steak challenge, and I called up the restaurant twice to make sure that they knew I was coming, a YouTuber, and that there'd be some people, because it was on Man vs. Food. It's a pretty busy restaurant, so I was making sure that everything would be okay. And then on the day that I got there, they said that I wouldn't be able to film, even though I'd already cleared it with the people on the phone 2 different times beforehand. And there were like 7 or 8 families there to watch. And of course, they were all eating as well. But yeah, it's all in the video. But yeah, long story short, they ended up calling the police in order to get me and everybody else off their property.
Wow.
We made a video about that a few years later, and obviously people enjoyed watching and hearing about it.
We're going to July 2024, Randy. During a food challenge tour all the way over in Spain, your teddy bear mascot, Leonidas, who's been with you since the very beginning, ended up getting lost in a bag at the airport. Can you walk us through what happened and what was your reaction?
Katina and I went down to Florida, and we did that. Well, typically, whenever we try to set up a trip, we figure out, and obviously it's going to be harder now with all the gas price issues going on, but typically, if we're wanting to go somewhere, we will figure out the price of the trip to get there directly. And then we will also compare, we'll see what flights get there, basically, so that we can spend the same amount or less sometimes by going to another city that has better flights, prices to get there. So, for example, when we wanted to go to Australia, we figured out the price from Milwaukee, and then we discovered that it was cheaper to actually go from Las Vegas to Hawaii to Australia. So it was actually cheaper to do all those flights with our bags and everything. So we went to Las Vegas for a couple days, did some challenges, obviously got to expense all that. We got to go to Hawaii for a few days and then did some challenges. And then we finally ended up in Australia. Well, for this trip that we're talking about with Leonidas, we were able to get a super cheap flight from Orlando all the way to Spain for like $350 a person, which is insane one way. And obviously, most flights to Orlando are super cheap. So we ended up flying from Milwaukee down to Florida to do some challenges. And then we did a charity hot dog contest around July 4th. And then we were going to be leaving to go to Madrid just for a couple days before we went somewhere else in Europe to start a family bus tour. And so the airport staff in Madrid, Spain, they might be at the top of the list for most lazy people ever, as far as working for any airline all around the world. So they lost my bag. but didn't actually lose the bag because the bag just got misplaced somewhere. And then we waited because usually I bring Leonidas in my carry-on bag, but for some reason that time we had him in the check luggage. Because it was going to be a long trip, I needed some check luggage. If I don't need check luggage, we try to carry on, but that was going to be a longer trip. And being a bigger guy, I have bigger clothes. So Katina likes to brag about how she usually uses a carry-on, but her clothes are, of course, a lot smaller. So Leonidas was in the bag, and the bag was nowhere to be found. And they said that they were going to keep in contact with me and let me know when the bag showed up, but they had no idea where the bag was in the meantime. Like 3 days later, after calling them and emailing and stuff, like I don't know, 45 times, probably not that many, but I decided to just go to the airport and my bag was just sitting there in the unclaimed luggage. I guess at some point, if I never went and got it, it was just going to be sold or however all that crap works with unclaimed baggage, even though I had contacted the airline many, many times and never heard anything. So obviously I have a bad taste in my mouth for the airline workers there. And then the funny thing is they tried to like ID me and stuff before I actually claimed my bag. I was I was not a happy camper. But yes, finally got Leonidas back and it was all good. And that had me get a, not an air tag, but T-Mobile has tracker things. That's who we use for phone stuff. So I've got a couple tracker things. If I ever have Leonidas or something important to me, I always have whatever T-Mobile's version of the air tags. So now I'm able to, haven't lost anything since.
Are you even more protective of him now? And does he still come on adventures with you?
Oh yeah, yeah. He's been to all 44 countries and 50 states with me, and actually, he was somebody attempted to steal him. A woman in Brisbane, Australia, tried to walk away with him in her bag. Thankfully, Katina, it was in 2023. Yeah, this woman, she was super sweet, which was the unfortunate part. But yeah, Katina noticed that she was kind of walking out a little bit sketchily, and Leonidas was nowhere to be found. And Katina said something, and then I asked her about it, and then it was a very unfortunate circumstance because she kept on wanting to leave and would not give us the bag or Leonidas, and everybody knew that Leonidas was in her bag, and she was just trying to go and making a big scene out of it. It took quite a few people to finally to get Leonidas back, but yeah, we were able to get it, and now because of that, even more so from the being lost in the luggage. Yeah, we've always make sure to keep Leonidas close, just because there's like I don't know, like 4,000 descendants of yeah, I think I've bought 1,000 bears like 3 or 4 different times now. So yeah, there's like either 4 or 5,000 bears, something like that, all stemming from Leonidas. And so to lose Leonidas would be awful. So yeah, we keep close track of him now.
Wow, that is wild. And great on Katina for noticing that.
Amen. Yes. Yeah, I was super thankful to her that because I think I was focused on signing photos and stuff for other people. Typically, after I'm done, I start focusing on signing photos and taking photos and stuff like that, and not so much on like my camera equipment or Leonidas or anything. It would be pretty easy to steal, but thankfully, yeah, Katina was there and then noticed that, and obviously we were able to get Leonidas back.
So, on the off chance that the person who took Leonidas is listening to this right now, do you have any words for her?
No, she was a super sweet, and I mean, it's been a couple years now, so I have nothing negative to say. I hope she's doing well.
All right, well, that's great to hear.
Try not to have any animosity. I still have animosity for Madrid Airport, though. I can't have any animosity for Lulu's either. They're all closed. Hopefully, the manager that caused it all isn't working another job.
And I also believe that it was Magic Mitch with you, and he was really looking forward to cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, justice for Mitch. Yeah, Mitch was with me, and he was going to do the food challenge too, as well as another guy that was from the area who was going to do the challenge with me. So yeah, they got on Man versus Food for having massive, like 3 pound cinnamon rolls. So we were going to have one of those for dessert afterwards, but obviously we did not get one of those. We had to While the cops were being called, I was out in the parking lot trying to find a different food challenge to do, just so that I would have one for the San Antonio area. And then, yeah, once I got done with the call and found out that we could go do that one, the cops were there to kick us off the property. And the good thing was there was not really anything. They thought it was stupid too, which it was stupid. So that's why Lulu's never had anything to say. They know what they did was stupid. In the video comments, a lot of people said that the cinnamon rolls were overrated. But yeah, it still would have been great to try. But, oh well.
So thinking about all the challenges you've tackled, which is just so many at this point, which one truly shocked you the most and why?
Oh, I don't actually know how to answer that because there's so many different times where I wonder how could this person be so stupid. Well, it happens way too much now. Actually, Eli just shared a photo with me the other day, or not a photo, he shared a Facebook link. Some restaurant somewhere, a brewery or something, was wanting people to do like a 100 patty burger all within 30 minutes or some crazy crap. And then there was another challenge not too far ago that somebody shared with me in Tennessee where there's these challenges that restaurants create that are like 15 to 20 pounds and they want people to eat them within 30 minutes. It's just, you wonder how they can be so stupid. You wonder how they have a restaurant and paid employees and customers and stuff while being so stupid. So I would say that's the big surprise is like at least probably 3 times a month. Somebody sends me a message and I say to myself, that is the dumbest food challenge I've ever heard of. I guess they'll watch somebody like somebody of Joey's caliber or Molly or Scott or Dan or any of these people that can eat like, I don't know, like 14, 15 pounds of food, or they've eaten it in a video. And then they think that just other people can just eat that much food as well. But they don't think about how most food challenges that are over 5 pounds, most people fail those. There's so many challenges that are easy to me that have been failed hundreds and hundreds of times. So these restaurants think that they have to have this crazy food challenge, but they also don't think about how much food's going to get wasted, and the number of people who actually take home leftovers from a food challenge is very minimal. So I know that does not really answer the question that you had, so I'm trying to think of what surprises me in a positive way. Typically, food challenges are not really about the food anymore. No matter how good the food is, it's probably going to be on the colder side by the time I eat. Because nowadays, especially when I'm on trips with Katina, the restaurant is so packed with people wanting photos and store stuff and all that. We'll get there like an hour and 15 minutes ahead of time. And we don't really get to go get restaurant footage of them cooking or anything because we've got so many people still trying to meet us before one of us can actually start our food challenge. And that was especially the case in Kansas City. All of the food that we ate was pretty cold because of by the time we get our own photos and videos, because we didn't get any kitchen footage, we already had to start late because people had to get last minute photos because they weren't going to be able to stay another hour until we were done eating. So we cater more to all of the people there than to even the video and the food challenge itself. So just things are different now.
And I also wanted to ask because you mentioned food waste. I believe you wrote an article about it, and it's mentioned online about food challenges being wasteful. And I just wanted to ask your opinion on that, if you view them as wasteful or not.
No, it's all about the person. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different conversations that can be had about a whole bunch of different areas of life that are all based on the same thing. And it really depends on the person. If a person is wasteful, then they're going to be wasteful. If a person's not wasteful, then they're not going to be wasteful. I mean, look at how much food gets wasted at hospitals, senior living centers, on cruises, at any large event, and stuff like that. And even grocery stores. Look at how much food gets thrown out at your local grocery store that never gets eaten or before the expiration date because of health codes and stuff like that. There's food waste everywhere, and there's not really anything that anybody can do about it. Other than you can control the amount of food you waste. And like I said, the people that aren't wasteful are probably going to do what they can to actually take their leftovers home. But then other people that really don't give a damn, which nothing against them, but no matter whether the food's good or not, they've left food at restaurants hundreds of other times before them. They're still going to waste. So, I mean, really, all depends on the food as well. So, I mean, if you're leaving behind a handful of fries or whatnot, I mean, that's not that big of a deal. But like I said, it just depends on the person. So it also depends on the restaurant as well, because some of the restaurants, their challenge is stupid. It's either too huge or there's not enough time or whatnot. And if the challenge is on the dumber side, more than three-quarters of the people that try it don't even get halfway. And then, I mean, there's not really anybody in particular to blame or whatnot, but I mean, Ramsey Hilton is probably the least wasteful person I've ever encountered with food challenges. If he lost a challenge, whatever the leftovers were, he brought them home and he would have them later or for lunch the next day. I mean, if I'm eating 8 pounds of food or whatnot, and I lose, and there's some fries left or something that's just not appetizing, I mean, there's not really anything that can be done other than just letting it go, because I'm not going to eat it the next day because I've got a food challenge. So, in general, it's not the food challenge's fault. It's just in competitive eating itself. It's just like anything, there's variables.
Well, now that we're talking about it, I wanted to let you know that a couple of episodes ago, I actually interviewed Magic Mitch, and I asked him about the team challenge. It was Team USA versus Team Greece, the one that featured like unlimited sauces. And on Team Greece, one of them actually accepted a phone call mid-challenge. I think you actually commented on that. So I wanted to know your thoughts on that and just the challenge overall.
Well, I mean, I thought the whole thing was stupid because we were going to Greece wanting to show off how delicious Greek food is. And Damos, our friend that we were staying with, who was on Team Greece leading that, he was talking to this restaurant and getting everything set up. And we were supposed to be each of us taking on a massive Team Euro challenge. And like 2 days before, the restaurant decided to turn it into a burger. And I'm sure Mitch told you, I think it's the title of his video that he posted, but it was by far easily in the top 3 worst tasting food challenges I've ever encountered. It took me like 8 or 9 Diet Cokes in order to get it down, and I was not dry heaving, what's the word, gagging, trying to get all of the last bits down. It was awful. And so we knew from the start, because the other person on Team Greece wasn't really a huge eater, and it was so much really difficult bread. Beef wasn't very good. Like I said in the video, there was like 11 different sauces. It was awful. I knew that it was a very Greek area and not many of them knew English. So I was just like, I was cussing and I was walking up and down an alley behind or whatever, just cussing, really frustrated because I had just spent thousands of dollars on this trip film some stupid video of me eating one of the worst burgers I've ever had in one of the most beautiful areas of Greece. We knew that Team Greece wasn't going to finish, so I was surprised that the guy accepted a phone call, but I'm not surprised because I was surprised, but I wasn't terribly shocked and I wasn't judgmental because I knew that they weren't going to finish anyway, so as long as they had fun is what mattered. And yeah, Mitch and I fought very hard to get that challenge down. And oh my gosh, it was so awful. It was not cooked well. They didn't even want it to be good, which was sad. And I'm happy that that restaurant closed too. Now, I'm not happy because you can't really judge a restaurant based on food challenge that they made. You can't let a food challenge dictate how all of the actual food tastes, because I don't even know if they even, I mean, you can't really judge a 10-pound massive burger on a baguette. Um, you can't let that decide how their regular burgers taste because normal burger was probably good, but that crap that they made for us was awful. But yeah, Mitch was a great partner. We were able to get the win. It took forever, but we got it. And that was my one win in Greece because I got my ass kicked by the other two.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I lost the dessert pancake challenge that was awful. The pancakes couldn't even really taste the pancakes because they had so much icing or frosting or whatnot was on them. And then we got screwed over by the burger challenge I did in Greece, which was part of that cheated video because they said they were going to do one thing and then they came out with a bun and a burger way bigger than what we were supposed to be getting. The bread was actually worse than the beef, and I think they threw in coleslaw for an unnecessary reason, and other stuff. None of the sauces went together. It was terrible. So yeah, for both Mitch and myself, it's definitely one of the one, two, or three worst food challenges of our careers.
And even though Team Greece lost, as long as they had fun, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as everybody had fun watching as well, that's what it's all about. I was able to get a good, delicious gyro the next day.
Oh, awesome. I love Euros. They're so good.
Yeah, our honeymoon is going to be in Greece, so I'm excited. Katina's never been, and I haven't been in forever, so I'm excited to go and enjoy all the normal food. No food challenges.
For 30 years, my dad delivered newspapers. And anytime I would go with them on the paper routes, there was this restaurant that was open 24/7, and they served the best gyros. So it's always been a great and comforting memory for me.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that sounds yummy.
So moving on to a little bit of more recent news, it's no secret you've spent many years studying to become a registered dietitian nutritionist. For those unfamiliar, could you describe what that actually entails and how you got on this career path?
Registered dietitian nutritionists, a lot of them are in hospitals. They do corporate wellness and things like that. The sad thing is that you have to explain what they do and everything to people because most people, until they have something to react to, an illness or something that requires a dietitian, they never really have any involvement with one. And that's one of the reasons I became a registered dietitian in order to use my social media to help people better understand nutrition and weight management. But typically these days, registered dietitians mostly help people nutritionally with diseases such as diabetes and cardiovascular issues and renal stuff going on with your kidneys and all that. Solutions involving nutrition. Registered dietitians help with that. So I'm actually not really going to be doing that many things as a typical registered dietitian does. I mostly got it as for the credential, so that it will help my book. Related to the bowling diet that I've been working on since 2012. And I'll be mostly focused on just general nutrition education and stuff like that, helping people preventative maintenance.
And how long has it been since you started the new YouTube channel? Because I believe you have two now, right?
I do, yeah. I've got the main channel. Nathan Figueroa does all the editing for that. I definitely need an editor for my RDN channel, but it's not monetized yet right now, and I can't really hire a full-time editor because I go on trips on and off and wouldn't be full-time work. And so I've got to get all that figured out. And so I'm editing the videos right now, which is a slow process because I'm not that good. I don't enjoy editing. So eventually I will get an editor to help me with everything. Maybe after I get back from the European travels this summer and other stuff and get some videos built up. But yes, Randy Santel RDN, I started it earlier this year and I've only got a couple videos up. I've got one more posting in a couple days, and then I've got a whole bunch that I want to film. I just got to get on those. We'll be home for another month and a half before leaving for a food challenge trip. So I'll be getting some more videos up on the channel just to let go. I'm mostly just having the channel going and getting it started just to start building some viewership and working on that for when I'm able to actually more fully dedicate time to it and getting the videos, having a video editor who can do a whole lot more fun edits, kind of like Nathan Figueroa does to my food challenge videos. I would never be able to edit a video like Nathan Figueroa did, or even like Magic Mitch did during the early days, or the video editor number 2 is Arthur Davis, who will actually be doing the wedding video for Katina and I. We're excited for that in October. But yeah, just working on the channel when I can as an RDN, and then working on my book and everything. There's a whole process, and I'm going to need a lot of help with it. But while the channel's unmonetized and all that, and while I'm still doing food challenges, I am just doing what I can do. But of course, along the way, a big part of it all is me losing the weight, because that will just help with everything.
I believe you recently renamed your sexification series to Operation Atlas. For those that don't know, what is your sexification series and why did you decide to change the name?
Back in 2012, I think is when I coined it. Actually, no, it might have been before that. No, I think it was in like 2008, maybe. While I was at work, I was talking about sexifying and getting sexy. I think it might have been around the time when Bringing Sexy Back by Justin Timberlake was going on. But yeah, I started calling my diets, my longer periods of dieting and weight loss, sexifications, just because telling somebody you're on a diet is just like awful. It's not really viewed as a positive, fun word. It's more of a, oh, I'm dieting. So it's almost like a negative coining to it. So I thought that sexification sounded fun. And so I would just say, oh, it's a sexification because I'm getting sexier. But then I wouldn't exactly, to call it not PC would be wrong. I don't really know. It's really, Katina kind of had the idea of now that I'm a registered dietitian wanting to be more professional. Operation Atlas is probably a little bit better of a term, just because most of the people, when they first hear sexification, they have no idea what it means. It has to be explained. Which I guess the same thing with Operation Atlas. But when you say sexification, it could mean a whole lot of other things, and especially in today's world, where it can mean a even larger variety of things as compared to 10 years ago when I started using it. Operation Atlas just sounds more professional, I guess. But to the people that I've known for a long time, or that my friends and stuff, I still call them sexifications.
Oh, so it still lives on in a way.
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, unprofessionally, yes. Professionally, Operation Atlas. Unprofessionally, it's a sexification.
So you promote your food challenges on social media, encouraging people to come out, have fun, and cheer you on. But in the early days, you would wear headphones and jam out while dominating challenges. So when did it shift from more of a personal pursuit to including the live audience?
Well, I always wanted the live audience, but when I was a smaller channel, obviously there wasn't that many people coming to the events. Eventually, it got to a point where there were a lot of people, and I decided that wearing headphones is kind of like, if you see somebody wearing headphones at the gym, that's basically them telling you, F off, let me lift. Don't bother me. I've got stuff that I'm working on, and I've got these headphones on for a reason. So I didn't want that same thing happening at my food challenge events. I wanted the people there in attendance to feel welcome to participate. I mean, I don't want people asking me like questions that take me a minute to answer or whatnot, but I want people to feel engaged. They're more than welcome to give suggestions or cheer and stuff like that. But I felt that me wearing the headphones kind of put people off from feeling welcome doing that. So eventually it got to a point where I stopped wearing them, and I've worn them a couple times since, but really only for crazy hard challenges that I'm not able to interact with people for. I know in Singapore, when I was doing a challenge with Zermatt, I had to eat like 200 and something satay skewers in not much time. So I was very focused on that. I wore headphones. And then up in Duluth, Minnesota, for a burger challenge, I wore headphones because I had to be so focused on this like over 10-pound burger and fries challenge. I'll use headphones every now and then, but it doesn't happen very often, and especially not if I know I'm going to beat the challenge.
So in the early days when you would wear headphones, did you ever consider getting a t-shirt that said, "Don't bother me, I'm dominating a food challenge"?
No, I'm gonna guess that people might have suggested that at some point, but no, I don't recall ever deciding on maybe getting a t-shirt like that. I do like it though. That's a good one.
You and Katina Eats Kilos have done so much together, traveling the world, dominating food challenges. With the wedding coming up in October, what's it like stepping into this next chapter together?
Ooh, I wouldn't exactly say we've stepped into any kind of chapter together. Well, I guess, yeah, obviously getting married, but we've been living together for years now. We actually moved in together and started living in sin quite early as compared to previously for the two of us. But she was living in Spokane, Washington, and I was living in Missouri. Uh, I'm not I'm not a very big fan of long distance, so we kind of established early on that we would quickly work on once she was finished with her degree from Gonzaga, and once I was finished with my lease and what I was doing, and had everything established that we would meet up and move in together. And so that kind of worked out. In Milwaukee, Wisconsin, is when we moved in together. But before that, we had already been staying at each other's places whenever the opportunities arose. Just because, like I said, neither of us really were into long distance that much. So we've lived together for a very long time. So even though, yeah, we're getting married in October, it really doesn't feel like anything different. So it's weird to say that we're stepping into another chapter. It's just contractual now, I guess, if you want to call it that. But yeah, excited for everything upcoming. It's been fun. Katina and I, let's see, it'll be 6 years in July. And so, yeah, we'll have been together for 6 years when we get married in October. So, yeah, everything's been going well. Always fun to travel and do trips with her. And she is not a personal trainer anymore. She didn't keep up her certification, but she used to be. And she's very knowledgeable in regards to fitness and exercise science. And that's what her degree was in, kinesiology, an education degree in kinesiology. So she'll be helping me with everything moving forward. Me as the dietitian, focused on the nutrition side of things, and she'll be helping with the nutrition and as well as the fitness side of things with the book and the channel. She's a hell of a lot better editor than I am, so she's been helping me with the editing and all the other stuff. So we'll just have to see where it all goes.
Do you have a favorite challenge or moment competing as a team with Katina?
We've had a couple challenges where it was a very close finish. There was one in New Jersey, just on the outskirts of the Philadelphia area. Crab du jour, it was called, but it was a huge spread of food, and oh, we were both struggling to get all of the seafood down. And she ended up chugging like an alcoholic drink that was included as part of it in front of a big crowd. And oh, we barely won, I think, with like seconds to spare. And same goes for a giant cheesesteak challenge that we did at a place called Richie's down in Florida. That was like a last second win as well. So the pizzas that we do in like half the time limit, I mean, those are always great to do. But obviously the memorable ones are the ones where it was like a last second finish. So we've had a couple of those. She's a trooper, and when we first did our first trip together to Alaska, when we finally met in person and started dating after that, which was the trip was only meant to just be professional, collaborating and just spending some time traveling Alaska and filming videos together. It was meant to just be a professional, fun trip. Since there weren't that many people I still wanted to collab with, and there were a couple challenges where the struggle was real, but we came out on top. So, yeah, I guess thinking back about it, there's more than I thought. There's quite a few where we where it was a big struggle.
And I also wanted to ask, when you're both out in public, how often do you two get recognized?
Well, Katina doesn't really let me wear any food challenge gear when we're out on dates and stuff like that. So I've got to wear normal clothes. She actually gets recognized more than me these days because people follow and watch her TikTok. We actually have a company that does our TikToks, our Snapchats, our MSN has something that we're on now, as well as the same company does a couple of our Facebook videos that we post weekly as well. But yeah, a lot of people watch on TikTok, Katina. And so Katina gets recognized. Me, it's more so if I'm wearing my hat or especially when I talk. Apparently, I have a recognizable voice. So some people will think that it's the two of us, but then they'll know once I open my mouth and like, oh yeah, that's Randy or whatnot. But yeah, Katina actually gets recognized more than I do these days.
And before we wrap it up, looking back on your 16-year food challenge career, what's the biggest lesson you've learned, and what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out?
Well, I guess that would be dependent on what they're starting out in. If they're starting wanting to be a YouTuber and a social media influencer or whatever you want to call it, then I would tell you good luck. No, no. My secret to everything over the years has always been to minimize expenses. So and that goes to anybody. I mean, if you have a lifestyle that costs you $40,000, then you're going to have to make 41,000 or more. If you have a lifestyle that only costs 16,000, then obviously you don't need to make as much. And so, if you're starting out as a YouTuber, wanting to have a social media business and stuff like that, wanting to grow your channels and everything you're working on, it could be a slow process. And my RDN channel is probably going to be a slower process, but thankfully I've already got all the money coming in from my main channel. But if you're starting out, you're probably got a real job, like I did back in the day, while focused a lot of your time on the job that you're wanting to have that isn't making a whole lot of money. So the big thing is just living within your means and keeping expenses low so that you don't need to make a whole lot of money to fund that lifestyle. I think Dave Ramsey says it, live like no one else does now so you can live like no one else does later. I think that one's a good quote. But if you're just starting out with food challenges, I would say that my word of advice is don't bite off more than you can chew. And I say this on foodchallenges.com too. There's so many people that their very first challenge they try, it's like 6, 7 pounds and they just get their butt kicked. Well, you should never have tried that challenge in the first place. Try something smaller and just beat that first and then build your confidence up as you go.
And then lastly, what's one of the biggest lessons you've learned?
Ooh, let's see. I would say, and just being a social media person is make sure that the person you see in the mirror is happy, because that's what matters most. You're going to get social media comments that are negative. You're going to get comments on other websites and stuff like that. But if you know the person in the mirror that you look at every night when you're brushing your teeth, and you know that that person is doing the best that he or she can, then that's what matters. So screw what everybody else thinks, as long as you're happy and you're doing what you think is best.
And that concludes our interview with Randy Santel. Randy, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Hey, of course. Yeah, I'm glad that we got to meet when we did that pizza challenge in Illinois a while back. And thanks for continuing to follow along. And it's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have all of Randy's links in the description below. And thanks for listening, everybody, as always. And we'll see you in the next episode.